Good morning, Roger.
Hello.
Michael Guest. Good to hear from you.
Well, it's so good to hear from you, Congressman. Welcome to our program this morning.
Well, thank y'all for having me and letting me spend a few minutes with y'all and talk about the things that are not going on in Washington.
The things that are not going on in Washington.
Well, let me run this by you there, Congressman, because Rob and I are sitting here, and we heard that last week the government shut down, but we haven't noticed anything.
You know, the mail is still delivered. Social Security checks, Medicare, Medicaid is still funded. The VA hospitals are open. You know, as a whole, most people have not felt the shutdown of the federal government. I think as federal workers begin missing paychecks, I think you will see more people impacted. You know, if you look over Meridian, at the Meridian Naval Air Station. Those troops won't get paid on the 15th. The federal government has different pay structures. Some individuals are paid monthly, some are paid bi-weekly, some are paid twice a month. But I think the first real inflection point that people will begin to feel, or most people will begin to feel the government shutdown, will be on the 15th because there will be a large number of individuals who don't get their paychecks, including our servicemen and women. And so I think that is an inflection point, a date to circle there on your calendar as to when you might see some movement on the pending government shutdown.
Congressman, this is Rob. Quick question about the shutdown. I know we see all the media coverage every day of what's going on up there. What is this really, really boiling down to? Kind of what is the sticking point right now in negotiations?
Well, you know, first I'll tell you, I think this is a politically manufactured crisis by the Democrats. If you look at the Democrats since January, they have been taking loss after loss after loss. President Trump, either through executive order, Congress through the reconciliation or the rescissions package, we've been able to extend and expand the Trump tax cuts. We've been able to fund the military, been able to secure the border. We've been able to defund Planned Parenthood. The president used the rescissions package to pull back money for PBS and MPB and some of the federal foreign spending that we see. And so the president really has been rolling up win after win after win. And this is kind of the first time that the Democrats have been able to put something up to stop this. You also have to look, is there's a personal motivation from Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer caught a great deal of grief from these far-left groups when he agreed to keep the government open earlier in the year. He has in his rearview mirror a very popular representative, at least popular in New York. I would say she's probably not very popular in Mississippi. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
I got her poster on. I got her poster on my wall.
I know she's one of your favorites, and you would like for me to get. I know you've said many times you would like for me to get her on your show, so that you can talk to her about the common interest and policy that you share. I'm still working on that, Roger. So I hope at some point she will come on with you, and that y'all can talk about the things that y'all, the policies that you share.
Of course, we're talking about the one and only AOC. Yeah.
The one, the only.
And I guess we're thankful for that, aren't we? The only.
That's right. Yeah. Thankful that she and Mondami are both from New York, and so you look at the politicians that come out of New York there, and you just kind of shrug your shoulders. Jeffries is from New York. Schumer is from New York. AOC is from New York. I mean, all of these far left.
You never thought about that, but yeah, that's just a bunch of New Yorkers fighting
there. They all come out of New York. That's right. You look at it, it's New York or California. Those are the two places where you're going to see those individuals kind of congregate, if you will. And but there is a setting up to be a potential Senate battle between Schumer and AOC. And Schumer cannot at this point vote to reopen the government for political purposes only. So this has become a political battle with Democrats trying to use the threat of health care costs going up to try to force Republicans to spend $500 billion.
Because-
That's what the proposal
Yeah.
will ask for. If we extend the enhanced Obamacare subsidies, which is what the Democrats asked for, that will cost more than $500 billion. And they're asking for $500 billion spending on a 7-week CR.
Eesh.
Now, and I know that you're not in the Senate, but we're talking about Schumer and the potential problem he's in. It seems to me there would be at least enough number of moderate senators that are in districts where their constituencies would be very much in favor of keeping the government going. Why are we having such a hard time finding those number of Democrats to come across and vote to just keep? I mean, nothing more. They're not voting for Republicans, not voting for Trump. They're just saying we're going to keep the government open. How come we can't get those?
I think those moderates, many of those are supporters of Schumer. They want to back his play, the call that he's made, which is we're going to shut the government down and force Republicans to the negotiating tables or to concede to our demands for additional spending on health care. As we get to these break points where people start missing checks, again, there'll be one group that misses checks at the end of the week, a second bigger group, including our military, who will miss checks on the 15th. And as we start to see, in some of these critical sectors, some of these workers calling out sick and not coming to work, I think that's going to really ramp up the pressure on some of these moderates. And I do believe that they're ultimately going to come to the table and do what they did 12 times in the Biden-Harris administration, which was pass CRs. I mean, Democrats are notorious for being the party that wants to pass a CR. They've been the party forever that have said shutdowns are bad, we can't have a shutdown. And so this is the first time when Republicans give them a clean CR that many of them have ever voted against a CR. They almost always vote unanimously to support CRs, and they did that repeatedly under Biden-Harris, again, but because President Trump is in office, because they're trying to score political points versus really worried about the direction of the country, Schumer hasn't been able to keep them together, at least up until this point.
Now, what is the House's role in all of this?
The House passed our CR. So
Right.
we passed our CR almost 3 weeks ago. It was a CR for your listeners, and most probably know. I know you've talked about it in a great detail. Is a continuing resolution. It just continues to fund the government, in this case, at the existing spending levels for an additional 7 weeks. To give Congress the ability to go in and continue to work on the appropriations bills. The appropriations bills are actually the permanent funding mechanism or the annual funding mechanism that Congress passes. And so Congress said, hey, we need 7 more weeks. We want 7 more weeks to work on this. We think if we have 7 weeks, that will allow us to make substantial progress on the appropriations bills. And so the House passed our clean CR. It was actually bipartisan. You had it was only a single Democrat, but a single Democrat from Maine actually supported the House version to keep the government open. And now that has made it to the Senate, we see that there have been 3 senators who have voted with Republicans on a regular basis. The senator from Maine, senator from Arizona, and then Senator Fetterman from Pennsylvania. So there have been 3 Democrats who have bucked Schumer's play of shutting the government down, but you need 5 more to get to that 60-vote threshold to reopen the government.
Do you think they'll eventually get that?
I do. I think we'll get there. And look, the issue on health care, where Democrats are saying it's got to be part of the CR, what Republicans have told Democrats, our leadership has told their leadership, hey, we're willing to have a conversation about that. We're willing to talk about that, maybe negotiate whether those tax cuts or those enhanced subsidies should be extended, but we're not going to do it in a government shutdown. And what our leadership has also said, if we're going to look at extending these, and these were COVID-era subsidies, okay? So these were one-time COVID-era subsidies that the Democrats put in place with no Republican support. They set the expiration date at the end of the year, and now that they're getting ready to expire, they want Republicans to rubber stamp this program continuing indefinitely. Again, a one-time program that now they want to make permanent. Okay. And here's what we said. We said, we want to look at things like on the program such as income limits. What many people don't know is 35% of all the money paid out for the enhanced subsidies go to people making $100,000 or more. So we're subsidizing people who are not the working poor, people who are not at the poverty level, but we are subsidizing, in some cases, people making hundreds of thousands of dollars to give them a lower premium on their health care. I believe that that's wrong. If we're going to look at this program, we need to look at income limits. There's also widespread abuse and fraud in the program, which has been documented. And the most important thing, if we're going to look at doing anything with the program, is I want the Democrats to come forward with a plan on how they're going to pay for it. Mm-hmm. If this is so important, that we're going to shut down the federal government, surely there are programs that the Democrats have identified where we can cut spending in other areas to pay for this health care program that they feel is essential and so essential to America that they're willing to shut down the government.
Wow. Okay, so there you go. So and nobody's running forward with, hey, I know we can cut here, here, and here, and here. They're not running forward with those ideas, are they?
No, they just want to add it to the $38 trillion national debt. Just add it on to the debt and
just
we'll
pile it on more
for it later.
There you go.
What's a little more? What's $500 billion in additional spending? Just throw it on there and we'll figure it out later.
All right. Now, I know that the president has kind of put a twist in it here since yesterday where he talked about, maybe there's maybe we don't have to pay back, or maybe we needed to look at whether we should have to pay back past wages to government workers. What do you say to that?
I think part of that is a negotiating tool with the president to try to bring the Democrats forward. There are two groups of federal workers right now. There are those that have been deemed essential, which mean that they are coming to work each and every day. They're still performing their job. Of course, anyone who is deemed an essential worker and who is actually on the job performing the duties of the job, those individuals will definitely get paid. There will not be a situation, a circumstance to where those workers would not. I think what the president was referring to were the non-essential workers. So there is a second lesser category of workers who are deemed by their agency heads not to be essential. They're not coming into the office. They're not performing any work. Historically, we've paid those people to stay home. It's basically been a paid vacation.
Right.
And I think what the president was referring to was that second smaller group of non-essential workers that those individuals may or may not be paid.
Okay.
And look, I think now is a great time for us to look at those people. And if you're a non-essential worker, is it not time maybe that some of those workers find jobs in the private sector? Do we need to keep non-essential workers on the payroll, or would it be a situation for us to say, hey, we're going to give you some sort of leave package, some sort of contract where you're going to be paid through the end of the year, but come January, you need to find a job in another area if you are truly non-essential and if we can function without you.
Very good. I've got a question here that's been texted in from a concerned citizen, if you're ready for it.
Yes, sir.
He says, ask the congressman, has he taught Joe D. how to budget her money over the next month?
Who's Joe D?
Jody.
Jody Crane. Jody Crane. I was thinking the name Joe. I thought Joe was the first name and D was the last name.
Yeah.
So, referring to Jody Crane.
Yeah.
Jody Crane works in our office there in D.C.
Yeah, that was Charles. That was Charles' question.
Jody is a rock star. She does an amazing job for us. Jody will be paid until the end of the month. We are paid on a monthly cycle, so my hope and prayer is that by the end of the month, Jody will be able to receive her paycheck. So
all right.
I think her and Charlie Ballou over there as well. They're as we get closer to the 30th, they'll be sweating a little as well because they, like the rest of us, won't be getting paid if the government remains shut down as we move into November. But I believe this will be probably resolved. If I'm looking at it and I don't have a crystal ball, I would think probably sometime maybe by the end of next week,
you
will really start to see some movement on reopening the government, which is important to pay our troops. And that's the other thing is, the House has talked about, and this is ultimately going to be Speaker Johnson's call, to return to Washington next week, maybe to pass some standalone resolution or standalone legislation to pay our troops, to pay our air traffic controllers, TSA, federal law enforcement officials, some of these key essential individuals that we've talked about who are in the who could potentially miss a paycheck. You may very well see Congress go back in the House and vote to pay them. I think that would pass the House. The question is, would Schumer and the Democrats vote for that in the Senate, or would they then use that as a way to continue to weaponize the shutdown and not support that? But that is something that has been talked about, and if we go into next week, it's something that I hope that the Speaker would do.
All right. Well, I know you've got another call coming up. Thank you for taking time to visit with us, Congressman Michael Guest here with us, and talking about the shutdown with the hopes that maybe by the end of next week see some movement on that.
Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Y'all have a great day.
Thank you, Congressman.
Take care of everybody in East Mississippi.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Thanks for the call.
Thank you.
All right. It's Mornings in Meridian.
Pretty extensive update.